You're listening to the Open Books Podcast.
Your next chapter starts now. This podcast is brought to you by Q&A Network. Amber, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but
If you're the cover, Virgo Beauty Studios got you looking like a bestseller.
Chapter 1, Flawless Foundation, Epilogue, compliments all day.
Book your beauty cover at virgobeautystudio.com. Welcome to the Open Books Podcast. This week we are back in the books. We're diving into the novel We Are All Guilty Here, a new Karin Slaughter release. And we did not regret switching to this book and doing a quick little DNF.
Yeah.
Quick little switcheroo.
Of this Woman in Suite 11.
Yes.
Because that was the book we had originally chose. I know we mentioned this in our Hurricane Katrina episode, but we originally chose The Woman in Suite 11, and we found out it was a sequel, which we knew it was a sequel, but we thought it would just kind of like be a character's new story.
Yeah, because it was a different setting, completely different setting. I assumed that there would be new characters, which there were new characters introduced, but old characters played a very big role in the book. I mean, we made it pretty far before we were like, wait.
Until I couldn't keep up. She kept referencing this like major event clearly that happened in the previous book, and I genuinely couldn't track. So just like a PSA, if you're interested in reading The Woman in Suite 11, because it's new and Ruth Ware is the author. She's an extremely popular author. If you're interested in reading that book, you have to read The Woman in Cabin 10 first.
Yeah, so ultimately Colby and I decided that it just wouldn't be fair and we couldn't give an accurate analysis of a book that we didn't read.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was like we basically would have been first book.
We would have been judging the first book as well, and we didn't read it.
Yeah, so
we're happy to be here.
Had to do what we had to do.
Yeah, so we did like a skirt switch to this book. We're All Guilty Here by Karin Slaughter, who's one of our favorite thriller authors. We read Pretty Girls by her, one of our very first episodes, and we loved that book. It's a very intense book, so we knew what we were getting into with this book because she seems to be a very graphic author. She touches on really tumultuous topics, to say the least.
It's sexual assault.
Yeah, trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
If you're reading this book, or if you've not read this book, or if you just listened to the episode because you like to shoot the shit with us while we tell you all about an interesting book, it is trigger warning for those tough topics. But it was a good book.
It was a very good book.
So shall we get into the summary?
Let's do it.
Just jump straight in. If you've not read this book, of course, you can still follow along. You can always follow along. You do not have to read the books to follow the episodes because I give you a full in-depth summary. It's like a mini audiobook in your ear.
We love that.
Now, this summary was created in help with sobrief.com. I always, before I write the summary all on my own, because it takes a lot of time, I will look if someone else has a great summary out there. A lot of times they don't because, websites will just give like an overview of the book, not a full summary to not spoil it. This website I've never seen before. So if you're looking for book summaries, go to sobrief.com. It had a great one. So I use this summary, in tandem with my own thoughts. And here it is. Character list. I kind of like the idea of doing this.
I wanted to tell you that.
You liked it?
I am obsessed with the addition of a character list.
Okay, good.
Because as a reader, you do forget all of the characters, especially coming from our last book that we read that had 1 million characters. And then if you haven't read the book, it's always nice to know a little bit about the characters that we're speaking about.
Exactly.
So I like this.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm going to keep the addition. I wanted to try it this time. So here's the character list. We have Emmy Clifton. She's deputy sheriff, a single mom, and emotional core of the novel. Haunted by guilt and determined to protect others even when it costs her, she is the main protagonist. We get her point of view for most of the book. Then we have Jude Archer, who also is Martha Clifton, which will make sense by the end of the summary. She's Emmy's long-lost sister and now an FBI profiler. Brilliant but burdened by trauma and secrets, including her true connection to Emmy. Then we have Gerald Clifton, that's Emmy's father and longtime sheriff. He's respected in town, but carries his own flaws, regrets, and complicated family history. We have Hannah Dalrymple. How did you say this? I could not figure it out in the book.
I think it's Dalrymple.
Dalrymple. That's what it was. Hannah Dalrymple, Madison's mother and Emmy's former best friend. She's grieving, angry, and forced to face both loss and survival. We have Cole Clifton, Emmy's son and deputy, representing the next generation who wants to break cycles of silence and complicity. Sorry, I have something in my throat.
Take a sip. A little froggy.
I've been trying to talk through it, but I'm like, all right, I think I got it. Virgil Ingram, Gerald Deputy. I just hate that name. Virgil Ingram, Gerald Deputy. Gerald's deputy and Emmy's mentor, trusted by the town but revealed as the hidden predator and ultimate betrayer. Adam Huntsinger, he's an outcast and town scapegoat. Easy to blame for the murders. We have Walton Huntsinger, Adam's father, a respected dentist, secretly complicit in the crimes. Dale Loudermilk, beloved teacher with a dark secret, grooming and predatory behavior. And then we have Madison Dalrymple and Cheyenne Baker, the two girls whose disappearance sets the story in motion. Both complicated but victims of the town's failures. So all of that's kind of pertinent to the story because we do have two kind of timelines. The story is told from Emmy's perspective. She is the sheriff's daughter. Then we kind of get like a 12 years later moment where we do still get flashbacks. But I found this book to be an interesting type of narrative because it almost felt like we were following a detective solve a case versus the story being told in different, I don't know, through different perspectives, which is kind of like what we're used to, different perspectives and timelines. This was pretty much
a take.
It was pretty much like a straightforward narrative of like almost listening to a true crime documentary through the detective's point of view. Because it's like just chasing her around town, putting pieces together.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this is book 1 in a series.
Okay, let's talk about that because I didn't understand what that meant. Are we going to follow Emmy?
Right. So I wonder how, either if it'll be maybe a prequel, like book 2 maybe be a prequel, but I think it might just continue.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see how that's going to go. So as you go through your summary, I think that's a cool thing to keep in mind.
I think so too.
Especially for our listeners. Like, how could this be continued?
Yeah, I think so too. Whether it's Emmy or maybe just another case in the town of North Falls. So here's the summary. On a blistering 4th of July night in the small Georgia town of North Falls, fireworks light up the sky while two teenage girls, Madison Dalrymple and her best friend Cheyenne Baker, vanish into the darkness. The girls had been planning to escape their suffocating lives, but their plan takes a terrifying turn. When Madison finds Cheyenne bound in the trunk of a car, everything spirals and both girls disappear, sparking a frantic search that tears the towns open with dark secrets. Deputy Emmy Clifton, who is our main protagonist, she grew up in North Falls, and she was thrown into the investigation. But Emmy carries heavy guilt. Just before the abduction, Madison had tried to confide in her, and she brushed it off. That mistake becomes the weight Emmy can't escape as she joins her father, Sheriff Gerald Clifton, in leading the search. Quickly, it's clear the girls' lives were far more complicated than their families realized. Drugs, older men, and risky choices are uncovered, forcing the community to confront the truth that it has long ignored. As Emmy digs deeper, the investigation uncovers a web of hypocrisy and danger. Cheyenne had been entangled in drugs and possibly in changing sex for money. Madison, long thought of as the good girl, was far more involved than anyone guessed. Suspicion spread through the town, and Emmy's own relationship with her, estranged best friend Hannah, and her ex-husband, even within her family, become strained and under pressure. The return of Emmy's long-lost sister, now known as Jude Archer, an FBI profiler, adds another explosive layer. Jude's reappearance stirs up old wounds and painful truths about their family history, including secrets about Emmy's parentage. Despite the tension between them, Emmy and Jude are forced to work together to unravel the case. The town latches onto an easy suspect, Adam Huntsinger, a local outcast with criminal past. Fueled by fear and anger, and a sensational true crime podcast painting up Emmy as a failure, the community rushes to judgment. But Emmy and Jude begin to see the cracks. Adam is guilty of many things, but not this. The real monsters are hiding in plain sight. The shocking truth emerges. Trusted and respected men in the town, including a teacher, a dentist, and most devastatingly, Emmy's mentor, Virgil Ingram, were behind the abductions and the murders. They exploited their positions of trust in the community's blind loyalty, creating a network of abuse that went unnoticed or deliberately ignored for years. Virgil's betrayal hits the hardest, forcing Emmy to confront how evil can wear the face of someone you thought you knew. The story unfolds across two timelines, both the original disappearance and a case 12 years later when another girl, Paisley Walker, goes missing in eerie similar circumstances. Emmy, now sheriff after her father's death, must face the possibility that the nightmare was never truly over. Together, she and Jude piece together the final truth, saving Paisley and exposing Virgil as the true predator. The cost, however, is devastating. Emmy loses her father, her trust in the community, and the mentor she once relied on. Jude's long-buried secret that she is actually Emmy's biological mother reshapes everything Emmy thought she knew about her own life. But by the end, the novel circles back to its title, We Are All Guilty Here. The guilt isn't just about crimes, it's about silence, complicity, and failures of parents, neighbors, and friends who turned away when the girls needed them the most. And yet there's a thread of hope. Emmy and Jude begin to rebuild their fractured bond. Emmy's son Cole represents a new generation, determined to not repeat the same mistakes. The community, scared but awakened, begins to reckon with its past. Ultimately, Karin Slaughter delivers a story that is as much about trauma, family, and survival as it is about true crime. It forces readers to face the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the greatest dangers don't come from strangers, but from people that we trust the most.
Wow. That was a really good summary.
When I saw that one online, I was like, solid.
Yeah, like you couldn't pass that one up. That was a good one.
Very, very well written and like covered all the points without being too lengthy.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to jump into our discussion-based questions. I think also it would be really fun if you just drop down your thoughts like in the comments and wherever so we can see how you felt if you read this book with us.
Yes, please.
So what was the most memorable part of the book for you?
Okay.
Starting big.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say this is going to sound tough because it's probably the most brutal part, but it was the part that I was like, whoa, was when Emmy found the two girls' bodies in the pond.
It was...
I don't even know the word. Because, okay, the way she found the bodies in the pond, I don't think the summary actually touched on this, but these were two girls who were like severely, brutally beaten and assaulted, and they were chained by a cinder block to each other and to the bottom of a pond, and Emmy had to pull them out with her own.
And she was struggling.
Yes, she was like drowning.
She was drowning herself because she said, when you're in training, you do train getting a body out of water, but you're not prepared to get two at the same time weighted down. So she goes and she sees Madison's body. Again, like it's a very graphic book, but it's so well written. That's just Karin Slaughter. And so she swims out to get the body. And when she can't move Madison, she realizes that under the water, chained to her, is Cheyenne. And then underneath the cinder block.
That part stuck out to me the most, 100%. And that was an interesting point that you said about the training. Something that we were talking about in my mom's pool the other day. I guess it was like something I was thinking about ever since that little kid fell off of the cruise ship and the dad had to tread water holding the little kid. I was just practicing with Matthew because I was curious. Could I tread water holding a child or holding someone that's 40 plus pounds? I literally couldn't do it. Like
that's hard.
Was drowning trying to hold him. So I was like, how did the dad do that? So just thinking about how hard that was for me to like just tread water holding a child, for her to have to pull up two bodies that were then chained to the bottom of the pond is just crazy.
That was definitely my most memorable moment as well. Like I texted you and was like, what?
You did text me about that part.
I also think a big memorable part of the book was Walter's confession.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was big, obviously, because it revealed all those missing puzzle pieces that we were searching for throughout, or that even Emmy was searching for. It like tied up all those ends for her.
That chapter was huge.
It was a big
of
chapter.
Revelations.
Yeah, for sure. So how dark his confession was. And there was a specific part where Emmy, I believe, was asking, did you have physical relations with the girls? And he said, yes, before, but not after. That was Virgil's thing.
Excuse me? Yeah.
So that took it to another level because that was never mentioned that there was any of
like post-mortem sexual assault.
Awful.
I think she might have touched on something similar in Pretty Girls. If I'm trying to remember, I know Pretty Girls was brutal. Like, I'm talking like that book had girls hanging up naked like deer.
Yeah. that book was crazy.
But that was a wild introduction to her as an author.
Yes.
And by the end, that book actually had like a really deep meaning about actually similarly, another word that I hate. That word is so hard for me to say.
It is hard. That's a hard word. Similarly.
To Pretty Girls, a big theme, which we might get into by the end, would be like father-daughter relationship. Because I remember that was in Pretty Girls too. They had, a lot of it was about the father and his Pretty Girls.
Wasn't it? Oh no, it was.
I don't think it was, I think the father wasn't the bad guy.
It was the husband and
then like the sheriff of the town. I remember it was lots of police corruption as well.
Which is a reason why I do enjoy these books.
Yeah. Well,
I
just
think
just
because
like
I
the
was so into like criminal justice because that's what my bachelor's degree is in. So I
fun
feel like
fact
I'm like,
about you.
fun fact, I never used it.
No, that's actually crazy that your bachelor's in criminal justice, because Karen Slaughter must like
She
that
has
kind
to
of
have
like,
something.
she must, yeah, because a lot of it is like town politics and law enforcement.
We should deep dive into her and I'm just curious because I know like Frida McFadden, she's like all into like,
Psychology.
yeah.
Yeah. And she's some type of psychologist.
Same thing with Lucinda Berry.
Yeah, that actually is like a little common theme.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So
Well,
it'll just be like for our own little nugget of knowledge.
yeah.
Which character did you find the most intriguing and what more would you like to have learned about them?
Jude/Martha, to me, was the most intriguing. Well, I knew there was something more. Okay, so the whole book we get Emmy's perspective. I didn't know, and I might have missed it, but I didn't know that that Jude had a sister who quote unquote died until like mid book when they started talking about Martha.
Mm-hmm.
And then we realized that Martha comes back. She's Jude.
Correct.
And I guess she kind of like moved on, restarted her life because of what happened in her past. So just to kind of give like a recap of Jude, basically when Jude was Martha, when she lived in the town, she was one of like the first daughters, and she ends up getting into like some sticky business.
Mm-hmm.
She gets pregnant with Emmy at like a super young age. Well, what was the dad's name again? It's in there somewhere. It's like a
Gerald.
I was going to say Walter, but Walter's the bad guy.
Yeah.
So Gerald, before he became the amazing dad that he was to Emmy, because I did love their relationship.
Me too.
He was Martha's dad, and he wasn't there yet. Like he even says in the book, like he had regrets about the way he handled things. And I'm assuming he was talking about Martha because they basically kicked Martha out. They were like, we're not going to allow this like teen pregnancy situation to happen. You can either give us the baby and disappear or take the baby and go. So she decided to give the baby and disappear. She felt like the baby would have had a better life with them. So she left, and then she had to live her whole life, away from her child, watching from afar. And she did see through however she found out, but that like Emmy was really happy. Like she had a great life with her dad. Like Emmy and Gerald were really close. She didn't know the whole time that Gerald was actually her grandfather.
Right.
But I found Jude probably to be the most interesting because I knew there was something more to her. We only got Jude from like Emmy's perspective, like, oh my God, now my sister wants to come back. She's like a big fancy FBI lady. Mm-hmm. But really we found out that she was only gone out of protection for Emmy. In the end, she didn't want to hurt Emmy by telling her the truth. She was like sexually assaulted by one of the crazy, what was his name? Adam. Like she had a really intense story. So yeah. I think she was my favorite character, or the most dynamic character.
Yeah, she was a great character. I think that I found Cheyenne Baker very intriguing, and Madison. And I just think that I want to know, I wish I could have had a whole book from Cheyenne's perspective.
You're so right. We got Madison's a bit in the beginning. I found it very interesting, that angsty teenager.
Yes.
Everyone hates me. The world is against me.
It's unfair.
Yeah. Me and my best friend against the world. That was her POV. And we've all been an angsty 15-year-old. Now, they really took it to another level. Like they were really some lost teenagers. And I would have loved to have Cheyenne's POV.
Yeah. Like I think like throughout the entire book, I found myself craving more of that. Mm-hmm. Like I was getting little pieces, but I want to know like what was going through her mind. Motivating. Like I know they wanted to leave town, and I know it was just like like they didn't love it at home, but to drive you to do the things that you were doing
seemed intense for a 15-year-old girl. I agree.
To be going through that, yet Karin wrote it in such a way that it was so raw and real. Mm-hmm. But that's what I wanted. I wanted more from Cheyenne, and I guess the point, like I wasn't going to get it in this book.
Mm-hmm. It was never going to happen.
It was never going to happen. But that's what I want.
Yeah, and everything we learned about them was through like everyone else's eyes, and everyone was just like, "Oh, Cheyenne, she was all about trouble.
She's the bad one,
right? She corrupted Madison, and we found out that she was stashing drugs and money and selling herself for money to men. And why?
I do find that so intriguing because I'm like, I mean, she was clearly troubled.
She was going through something. More. Yeah. You're right. I'm kind of annoyed about that now. I would have liked a lot more from their perspective. I was actually hoping that at the very end we would get Madison's perspective one more time of like her final moments, but we didn't.
I know. And that leads me into, so if another character could have told this story, how do you think it would have changed? Or maybe like even who would you have wanted it to to tell the story.
I would have loved to have the story wrapped up from Madison's perspective, because we could have got the 100% truth, because you have to remember, we didn't hear from the main culprit, Virgil, because Emmy ends up shooting him out of protection before he really tells the full story. We did get his confession, but that was it. Then we have Walter, who tells the story, and although his confession was like riveting and troubling and very disgusting, we don't know how much of it was 100% true. I was hoping to hear from one of the girls.
Oh my gosh. Or if it was written, both of their perspectives back and forth leading up to the events.
Oh my gosh.
A little backstory, and then leading up to that tragic
Karin, if you're listening,
4th of July.
That would have been awesome. So like backstory, we get what Madison's going through. We get how Cheyenne sees it. We get how Madison sees it.
And then like how that would have changed the story.
Yeah.
It would have just added to the story.
It would have, right. I was going to say, maybe not changed. Maybe the outcome would be the same, but it would have added an amazing layer.
That would have been so good.
I'm like not bothered now, because I'm like, I want to read that story.
Wait, Karin, please.
Because I found like Emmy traveling around town and putting together pieces, I found really interesting, because I was like trying to figure out what happened for them to lead up to this moment. And then we find out it was because they were having these relations with very like prominent people in the town.
Yes.
The town's dentist, the
sheriff.
Right, the sheriff, and
the teacher.
So it's like, I want to see their interactions through the girl's eyes.
Yep.
That would have been clutch.
Since we're talking about the story as a whole right now, something that I really appreciated about this novel is it jumped right in.
Thank God.
Like, it was like chapter 1, she's disappeared.
Thank you.
And
that's our vibe.
I love that.
So when we were reading The Woman in Suite 11, snooze, I'm
Snooze
sorry.
fest,
And hey, some people like a slow burn. I don't. I
think
to be
I'm
like,
learning that. I think I'd hate a slow burn.
Me too. Whether it's a movie or a book, mainly book. Maybe I can handle like a slow burn romance, maybe. But it's just not my thing. I want to be right in the middle of the action.
So like, I so appreciated that.
Yeah, me too.
Did this book make you think differently about a certain topic or issue?
It made me think a lot about how things that can happen usually are someone very close to children. Okay, so let's just look at it as a like child thing, like a child predator thing.
Yep.
It made me realize that, and I've kind of always known this, but pretty much in all the books we read, it usually is always someone that is close to a child, whether it is
access,
a weird uncle or a teacher, right? They have access in some way. And the craziest true crime stories are the most rare ones, where it's like a child is just kidnapped by a complete psychopath who's never known them before, just saw them on the street playing on their bike.
Them, yeah.
And that does happen in real life and in stories. But this book made me really think about how it usually always is the people under your nose in plenty of real life cases. Just like that one. Now, this is not about children, but this like just made me think of real quick that documentary that I watched on Hulu about the couples who, what was it called? They like murdered the other person for their
Mr.
money.
and Mrs. Murder.
Yes. And it was like the whole time they're like, oh, he drowned in the alligators. And the whole time it's like, no, it's the person right under your nose.
You literally got with the man that killed your husband.
Exactly.
Be so for real right now.
Right. It's right under your nose.
I swear to you, I had the exact same takeaway. And I think it makes me wonder.
Mm-hmm. How careful should you be?
How careful should you be?
Yeah.
There's who could really be involved in these things?
I know.
In like your actual parishes. Like,
and it's true.
It's hard to think about.
It's real though. And it's something that you never really take seriously when your mom is like, me talking to myself, because I've always like, Mom, it's fine. She'll be like, you can't go there because I don't know those people, or da-da-da. And I'll be like, Mom, it's fine. It's like,
fine, but you don't know.
You don't know.
You really don't
think
know
that. I mean, they made a mockery at the end of it. He's like, everybody trusted him, even you trusted him. He was your mentor, blah blah. And it's like, you just never think that it could be someone so close to you, someone who has so much access to innocence, and just like take full advantage.
Yeah, and it just makes like the title, like we're all guilty here. It really just makes you think like that's basically everyone that like walks around. Maybe not to this crazy extent in the book, but like everyone has something.
Right.
It's like we're all guilty here.
We're all, or people who do let their children, don't do much research, and you let your child go somewhere and something happens. Is it your fault? No. But are you going to hold on to guilt? 100%, because you let them go. You didn't really know these people. And now look, so no sleepovers for my children.
Absolutely not. And you know what else pissed me off? Making us think differently. Dale. the teacher.
Yeah, what the hell?
When he like immediately, obviously now that we're finished the book, he went to go scrub that computer because he knew.
He had child corn. Literally.
And that the way he had it like alphabetized with a number, just very disturbing. And it just like, you can't trust anyone.
No.
Basically is like what it's making me think differently about. You think you know people and you simply don't.
Yeah.
So
point blank period.
Point blank period. If you could step into this book's world, what is the first thing you would do?
Go back to the night where Emmy was confronted by Madison, and I would, if I was Emmy, listen to her, take your time with her, not push her away. I mean, that was like a huge part of the book. Because, I mean, Emmy's guilt the whole book was that this girl, Madison, clearly was in some type of distress and she wanted to confide in Emmy, and Emmy was dealing with her own stuff and she kind of pushed her away, which is a human thing to do.
Yeah.
But had she not done that, maybe none of this would have happened, or a lot of it, the damage had already been done as far as what those men were doing with the 15-year-old girls. But the extent of it could have been stopped.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so similarly, I was thinking like I would just like, I wish I could take Emmy back to the evidence post everything happened. That's why I appreciate what you said. Like I would just went back to the night, but I was like wanted her to get the bad guy sooner. Like look at this evidence from a different way now that we know the ending. So
yeah, now that we know that the evidence was like, okay, that was one qualm I had with it a little bit, because it was like when she finally got into Virgil's basement and she realizes it was Virgil, she's looking through his evidence and she's like, wait a minute, this has whiteout on it. He changed the numbers. He changed this. I'm like, well, damn, nobody double checked his work. Only one person's entering evidence.
He's the only person, because that's not even how it really works in real life.
Okay, it can't. That's what I wanted to ask you. Surely there's more eyes on evidence than just one person.
There's like a department for evidence.
Literally. So I was like, okay, that's a little far-fetched. But other than
now,
that,
as sheriff, sure, he has
trust.
Like he can like go in and go as he pleases, I'm sure.
Right.
But like modern day, like it's entered into a system.
Mm-hmm.
It's coded like. It's a lot more than just like some whiteout on a box.
Exactly.
Like
it probably would have been caught.
Yeah. Someone somewhere in the internal systems, I'm sure would have been like, hey, wait a sec.
Yeah. I wish we could go back and make Emmy that person. Just put another
because
set of eyes on it.
She seemed so smart.
She did.
But not smart enough.
I think she was so wrapped up in her guilt of not stopping Madison that night or talking to Madison that night, she kind of lost focus of the investigation. Like she she was running on fumes the whole book, literally.
Yeah. There was like literally a part where she's like, my body just, and I could be, obviously saying this wrong, but there was like a part where she was like, my body just went to sleep after 4 months of like not. I'm like, oh my God. But that's true. Like when you're,
that's a
anxiety,
tough job.
Worry, guilt.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in constant fight or flight.
Yeah. I'm so spiritual and woo-woo right now too. When she said stuff like that, I'm like, Emmy, take a break. This is not your reality right now. It doesn't have to be your reality.
You can quantum leap, baby.
You can, go visualize yourself on a beach in Cabo.
Right.
You'll be
like, if y'all don't know, we are on our like heavy meditation, journaling, visualizing. So,
and anytime I hear something like this, someone's going through something in my mind, I'm like, if they only knew, they could just change it with the power of their minds.
Is the secret. We're definitely like, in my world,
everyone poops rainbows.
and
I don't remember, but
and eats butterflies.
Yeah, and poops rainbows with the big eyes.
That's us.
Us.
So it is now time for our review roundup.
Okay.
All of our reviews come from Goodreads, meaning like whatever I read on the podcast. This book, as of today, has a 4.41 rating, and that is with 5,382 ratings and over 1,400 reviews.
Which seems like a lot because this book came out on August 12th.
Correct.
Now, a lot of those could be from people who got like ARCs.
There was ARCs, yeah.
Please add us on your ARC list.
We would love to be on ARC list. So a 5-star review. Wow, I'm nearly at a loss for words. This is a Tour de France. Tour de France.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be creation for an author who, in my opinion, already defines the crime fiction subgenre. This is a masterpiece.
Okay, wait. That's kind of what we were trying to say.
Yes,
it's crime fiction.
Crime fiction.
Okay, got it.
Yes, this person very eloquently said that.
We're like, thank you. It's like policemen?
It's police work. It's like girls who do police work.
Yeah, it's like that perspective.
With a badge, And
a notepad. Okay, sorry.
This story is so intricately told. Every detail is carefully crafted and vividly depicted. I felt like I was in some magical, vicarious voyeur machine that catapulted me into every scene in this book and allowed me to observe with my own eyes. And because I watched each scene firsthand, I also experienced every resulting emotion as a very personal, profound level. I love that we only got one side of the story, and we were just as in the dark as our protagonist was. It amplified the tension and ratcheted up the suspense significantly as a storytelling mechanism. The characters were flawed and believable. Their motivations and actions all made perfect sense. Emmy and Jude are amazing, and I hope that they become the centerpiece of many more novels. I will be reading every single one. I wrote that. Just
amazing.
kidding.
You wrote that in 2 seconds.
I like how you were like, I know you did.
I know. You don't even have to tell me.
I know.
Okay,
No, that definitely was not me, but I feel like that captured the book very well.
Yes. I want to comment on that because so much of that I agreed with. Yes, I really liked Emmy and Jude by the end, and I would like to see their dynamic continue, and maybe Emmy find out that Jude was her mom. There was one thing that she said that I was like, I don't know. Okay, one thing she said I really agreed with was the emotional aspect, because I did feel very emotionally charged the same way that the characters were. But you know how she said that she liked how it was one perspective? I found that to be a little redundant and almost boring at times. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely but I kind of feel like that with any book. I love a dual perspective.
Right.
1-star review.
Here we go.
This was my first book by this author, and unfortunately, I was not impressed. I am not a huge fan of police procedurals, but the first 30% I was very invested. However, it took a nosedive, and I honestly lost all interest. Long, drawn-out chapters, slow pacing, and a dull anticlimactic moment left this dead in the water.
Yikes.
It's
very literal.
Literally. I will try a different book, likely Pretty Girls. Yes. But so far, I am not a fan. Maybe a diehard Slaughter fan will love this, but this just wasn't for me. Sometimes books are so slow that it makes me wonder if the author got bored writing it themselves.
Dang. Some of that, I agree with Tom. It wasn't the most interesting the whole time.
No, but the chapters were dreadfully long. I will agree with that. There was no reason. So Colby and I both did the audio. We know Colby is definitely our audio girl. I did audio for this book as well. I can only imagine if I read it Kindle. It was a 16-hour listen.
That's too long.
16 hours. I mean,
we clocked in.
We just said we don't like a book over 300 pages.
Literally, I was like 8-hour audio max.
Yeah, we clocked in the 16 hours. So
we did. I agree. It was a little bit too long. It was a little too long-winded. It could have been cut easily into 4 hours could have been cut.
Our next on the shelf is Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. A retired serial killer's quiet life is upended by an unexpected visitor. To protect her secret, there's only one option left. What's another murder? From best-selling author Samantha Downing, Lottie Jones thought her crimes were behind her. Decades earlier, she changed her identity and tucked herself away in a small town. Her most exciting nights are the weekly bingo games at the local church and gossiping with her friends. When investigative journalist Plum Dixon shows up on her doorstep asking questions about Lottie's past, and specifically her involvement with numerous unsolved cases, well, Lottie just can't have that. But getting away with murder is hard enough when you're young, and when Lottie receives another annoying knock on the door, she realizes this crime might just be the death of her.
Okay.
That sounds so fun.
Y'all, we're switching it up with this.
Yes.
An older woman serial killer. We were just looking it up. It looks really funny. And we want to kind of change things up a little bit. We want to still keep it in the thriller genre, but give y'all something.
This might be a fun read.
Yeah, something a little more fun. It's a little bit shorter than what we just read.
Yeah. So I know we talk about pages. It's 385 pages.
Okay.
That's sweet spot.
That's a good sweet spot. So read this one with us. Too Old for This. What's the author's name?
Samantha Downing.
Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. Read it with us. Send us your thoughts. And we're going to talk about the book.
I think it's going to be a fun read.
On the podcast. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for reading this book with us. We love you. Follow us on social media at Open Books Podcast. You can follow our personals on our TikTok. If you click on our Open Books Podcast TikTok, our socials are linked, or our personal pages are linked. And then you can always watch the full YouTube video at Q&A Network on YouTube.
Yeah. Go show us some love.
Yes. Love y'all.
Tink.
Bye.